All right, welcome back. Now, I hope this is going to be a shorter video, but I wanted to get something out there. Before we begin, I want to thank a couple of guys, and this is a prime example of modelers helping modelers. It's a great community. I'm not going to mention their full names. Maybe they don't want me to, but Ryan, thank you for this box of goodies here. This is some NCE stuff that's going to help me extend some of the cords and range, because he went wireless. I think that's what he said. I think he went wireless, and then he had these extra cables and parts and things for the NCC system. So thanks, Ryan. I really appreciate that. And Steve W. This is a MTH 3-rail Western Maryland GP 35, I believe it is. And I've been looking for these wheel sets, and I know I probably mentioned it, and Ryan and I were talking back and forth. So Steve was kind enough to send me an extra set of the scale wheels that I'm going to be able to convert this with. Thanks a lot, Steve, and thank you, Ryan. And over here, I think I mentioned that I had a second Red Caboose Hobbies. I think that's what that's called. This one was all jacked up when I got it, and it was almost like for nothing. But I decided at one point I was going to make it into kind of a shorty, like a switcher, a box cab or something like that, and I started making a frame for it. But this is the original length of it here. And I might be able to use this on that other one I have in the back, because I know it's missing some parts as well. So maybe between the two of them, I can put together a complete Jeep, and then also be able to have a little switcher engine or something like that. All right, and also I want to mention that I answered a question on the last video, and it was regarding how I mount these switch machines to the underside of this 1-inch foam. Well, I know this isn't a very solid surface to mount to, especially trying to put 4 screws into foam. So I made these basswood plates on the laser, and you can certainly do this by hand, but obviously there's a hole here for the wire to come through, and then 4 screw holes. What this allows me to do is put construction adhesive on here. Obviously this is glued to the switch machine, but put construction adhesive on top of here, and it's got a real nice initial tact. So once I go up under there and I locate the hole and I get it in position, I can adjust it. I have it previously wired, so I can work the switch machine back and forth to make sure it's in the right position. Then, if I know that's right, that glue or construction adhesive is going to hold that just long enough for me to get a couple of screws in there to hold it in place until it dries completely. But that's how all these are mounted, and I think there's 4 on this side and 2 on that side. As you saw, the peninsula has the base scenery, and I can go ahead and start detailing it and rough this up some. Start detailing it really nice, but I'm going to work in this area, and I'm going to try to get this finished today, where I got to finish weathering the track and put some ground cover in there and start deciding where I'm going to have roads and buildings and things like that. All right, I'm really surprised I was able to do this morning, Saturday, and I want to give a shout out, while I'm thinking about it, to one of our customers, Ken, who gave me a call, and I was talking to him while I was doing this. So forever, he'll be remembered as the guy I was talking to on the phone while I was weathering the track here. Hi, Ken. Thank you. So while I'm waiting for all of this to dry, I'm starting to think about a road crossing here. So here on the peninsula, or the extension, whatever you want to call it, I know I said this is the base coat, and it is, but once I go to start detailing, I can take a brush and start scuffing this up a little bit in various areas so it doesn't look so uniform. And that's the reason I use that dirt colored paint in with the glue, is because when I start moving this off of here, you still have that color underneath, and the dirt kind of works its way into it, and it looks more natural. Or we can plant weeds and do all that sort of thing. You know, I'll tell you, I really do like this fascia on here. And once I start working on all this stuff, I can paint it and get it looking nice, put some trim on it. But I still have to get some more for this side of the layout. And I don't know if I mentioned it in a previous video, I'm thinking about extending this out a bit so I can put some structures right in this area here, just to give it a deeper look to the layout, because it is a shelf layout. Let's get back to this road here. The thought is the road goes across for this industry here, and maybe some trucks and stuff like that only use the crossing, maybe employees, but it also has an area where it can go into the backdrop which would simulate going into that section of industries over there. But whether or not I'm going to do this as a gravel road, I don't know. Maybe a paved road, but definitely just a set of crossbucks. I really like how that looks. Now, of course, this is without the track being weathered fully and obviously not ballasted. And I kind of didn't want to show it because I like to show finished scenes, especially when I'm not doing like a how-to or something. But I used to sell these a few years ago, detail parts, and this was a single lane road crossing. And I'm thinking about opening up the pack and setting that in there and see how it looks, because I don't know if I want to use a gravel road crossing or a wooden road crossing, but I want to see how that looks. I stained this just to give it a little color, and that is the piece that goes on that side. This one goes over here, just to see how it looks. And I made these little ramps here. I'm going to put this cardstock in. That way I can build up to it with whatever gravel or whatever, you know, stuff I use. So gravel will go up and meet that once it's in there. So we're going to glue all that down. All right, it was a very long day weathering all this track, putting some basic ground cover in, a little bit of ballast that I had left. And then I worked on this gravel road here. That's going to be replaced, but that's the template. And this is all just roughed in. So I got to go back through it and detail it and clean it up before I start putting scenery on. But that's a nice scene. So as you can see, this is as far as I've gotten with the roughed in scenery. So I'm moving along here. Stay out of my way. Now this area here, I know everybody has commented on the seam. This is all going to get covered up. As a matter of fact, everything you see is not going to be like it is. This isn't going to stay like that. It just looks like dirt piled on there. But we'll go through that once I get to it. And like I said earlier, I'm going to be able to rough this up when I put weeds and grasses and rocks and all that stuff down. So this GP7 from Red Caboose Hobbies, or whatever that company was called, there were kits. Somebody put this together. It was a kit, and I bought it at some train show. I have another one. I'm running it on DC. It runs pretty good. So today, in addition to this crossing, I started to do the build-up of material up to the backdrop itself, and all that's going to get hidden and covered anyway. But at least it looks level. It doesn't look like it drops off, and it blends a little bit better. But this is all roughed in. Everything's just roughed in.